I think this style is a perfect example for what I will try to explain. As you heard, it's a relative simple style. It only uses two voices, piano and bass guitar, and as such it's already quite useful for practicing many popular songs or melodies. Now, here we will only concentrate on piano part of this style, which I recorded this way. Now, I see left part as a rhythmic part, which could also be recorded like this. And the right part is actually padding, because I'm only playing chords, no melodies or riffs, only chords, which is typical for padding. Now, being at padding, let's see how typical padding or default padding works. And to do that, let's go to Style Creator and let's create a new style. Now all channels are empty and all channels are set to default values. That is, each channel has slightly different default values. Here we will use pad channel for our padding simply because of the name, but as we will see later, it doesn't really matter. We could use actually any channel for our padding except rhythm 2. Now, let's record our padding a little simplified. Yes, that's that. And let's see how it works by default. Let's run our style with only padding channel. Yes, that's our chord that we recorded. I called that chord initial chord. Now let's switch to F. Yes, it works as expected. That's how we hear typical padding. Now, what makes this padding to work as expected? Let's look at default settings for this channel. Let's activate this channel for editing and take a look into NTR entity. By the way, this complete section is meant to define how the channel should behave, what it should do. We are here interested on these settings, and here we see entity type is chord. That's okay, that's what we are dealing with here. And the first setting is root transpose, and that does exactly what it does. That's our initial chord, and now that is C major first inversion, and now keep this type of chord as it is and only transpose notes to desired chord, for example F or to G. We will only talk about chord progression C, F, G here because that's mostly used. Now, that does that way, and that's typical padding. However, in our style, we don't want that. Because, let's listen. You noticed that we started relaxing C, then we switched to F, which is quite harsh because of high notes, and when we switch to G, it's really bad. These high notes stands out too much, they are too dominant, and then we jump back long distance back to relaxing C. What we want is to keep our chord progression as close as possible to our initial chord. That is, we wish to keep our chord progression within certain range of initial chord, and that range is 1 octave. In this particular style, I used this chord progression. Now we have much more smooth chord change. Now, how did I achieve that? Let's take a look. That's our initial chord. This note is the lowest, and 1 octave higher is this one. So let's say we wish to keep our chord progression within this octave. Let's see what chords can we play within this octave. Initial chord, obviously. Then if we want to play F, then that's the only chord that we can play within this range. We cannot play this, and we can also not play this because it's outside the range. And the same is true for G. This is the only G that we can play. Everything else is outside that region. And so, by following this rule, we can play, which is already close to initial chord. Now, but we can also say that's our initial chord. This is the highest note of that chord, and this one is 1 octave lower. And now we wish to keep our chord progression within this octave. Let's take a look what chords can we play within this octave. Initial chord, obviously. Then we can play, same as before, this F, but we cannot play this G anymore. It's outside. We can play this instead, and that's exactly what I did in my chord, in my style. However, we can also say, if we keep this range, we can also say I can play initial chord, but I can also play this F, and then this G, and back to C. Now, you see, we have choices. We can choose what we want and what we like for our particular style, what sounds the best for us. Now, how to achieve that? Solution is simple. We change that setting to root fixed. Being at that, let's quickly, root fixed chord, let's take a quick look at channel chord 2. It's empty, but let's just take a look at its settings. As we can see, it already has the settings that we just made in our pad channel. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter which pad channel, which channel we use for a particular task. The only thing that matters is what settings we apply on that channel. Now, we will delete that that content of this padding that we just did. And by the way, when we delete the content of the channel, the settings go back to default values for that channel. So we need to set that to root fixed again. Now I will record our padding slightly different. I will not play all notes at the same time. I will play them in sequence. Because if something doesn't sound right, then we can easier find the problem. That is, which note is making troubles. Now we will do that slightly slower so that we can follow the notes. Okay, that's now our new padding. And as said, it has root fixed, which keeps chord progression within octave range. Now, let's see what we get. Of course, that's our initial chord. Yes, that's what we want. And now G. Now that doesn't seem to be right. G is playing these notes. That is, if we would play all notes at the same time, we would get, and that G doesn't sound right. It's not full chord. Now I can already hear you. Piece of cake. I will apply select padding for editing, and now I will use high note limit. I will set that high note limit to C4. C4. And what that does is allow this channel to play only notes up to C4. Nothing above that, because this note is making us troubles. We got this. That is, first note seems to be right, but we wish this. And this note is making us troubles. Now let's see what we get. Okay, let's play. Okay, initial is okay. F as well, nothing changed here. And now G. Yes. Now here we have another problem. Okay, channel is not playing this note anymore. However, it decided to play this instead. Before we had 1, 2, 3, and now we have 1, 2, 3. And if we play all notes at the same time, it's not full G chord. That is, I don't recommend that approach with high-low note limits, because even if it would work, but it doesn't, then that would make a style very, very key dependent. That is, this style would only be usable in C major. And if you would like to play some other song by using this style in D major, it wouldn't work anymore, because we said not play nothing above C4. You'll get the point. Anyway, this high-low note limit should only be used as emergency solution in case when we exactly know what we wish to accomplish and what the consequences are. Now, you might fiddle with settings somehow, trying one or another and combine everything, and you'll somehow get this G. You wanted this, but you got somehow this, and you would say, okay, it doesn't sound bad either. Although I don't, how to say, I don't understand such decisions, because I want the keyboard to play what I wish, not something that I got by coincidence. But still, okay, you will say, I'm fine with that G, and I will only play in C major anyway. But if that happens, then you should check again the chords that were previously worked fine. That is, initial chord will be probably fine. You got this G now, you are happy with that. But if you check F, you will get this. This note will be missing. And so you get the idea. You now have the same problem with F that you had before with G. That is, this high-low note limitation is not really a solution in this case. I will tell you the solution in next video, because it needs some explanation. Solution is relatively simple and easy to apply. However, we need to understand it, because I don't wish that you would only be able to create this particular style that I just show you. I wish that you can use that knowledge for every style that you will ever make, and trust me, you will use that solution all the time. It's a basic things for style creation. Till the next time.